I, 30M, want to try to move in with my girlfriend, 31F, but I don't know if it's worth pursuing. We've been dating a year and a half. Solid relationship. We've never even had to raise our voices or argue over anything. We also live separately, renting. I really want to propose. She's the one. But I've always felt that moving in together is an important step before marriage. We discussed it twice, with 1 month between the question, and both times she said the same thing: I think about it, but I'm not ready. I respect her boundaries and drop it. And here I am yet again. I want to move forward, but I don't want to pressure her. I've googled the topic, I know the statistics, but I still want cohabitation. Should I respectfully push the issue a little more, or should I keep waiting? Too long didn't read. I want to propose to my girlfriend, but while I want to live together first, she is holding off. Have a conversation with her. Ask her what needs to happen in order for her to be ready. Communication is really important. You should be able to talk about anything and everything openly with your partner. I highly recommend moving in together before marriage. Living together is a whole new playing field, and you really get to know someone for who they are. Better to do that before committing your life to them. Also, a little piece of me feels that if she isn't ready to move in together yet, she may not be ready for marriage yet. Rather than push on the question of moving in, you need to have an actual conversation. You should be able to have a conversation with her about what sort of timeline she sees herself on as far as moving in, getting married, etc. This isn't a conversation which is trying to pressure her, or impose any timeline. It's just, you want to get her to talk about what she sees the next few years of her life looking at. And you can ask her what sort of things she thinks she needs in order to move in. Again, not in an accusatory way, but in a getting to know you, trying to understand my partner better, sort of way. I would go so far as to say that the fact that you haven't had these conversations, that you don't seem to have the ability to talk about stuff like this, strongly suggests that you shouldn't move in. I would bring up the fact that you are ready, if you haven't said so already, but also let her know that if she still isn't ready, then that's fine. You don't want to keep pushing it, as this could push her away / scare her. As you said, you think she's the one, so isn't it worth waiting for? People aren't ready for the same things at the same time, but as long as you're on the same page about wanting those things in the future, just wait it out. Also, if she isn't ready to move in, she is probably not ready for a proposal. What are her reservations about living together? Would she have to leave her apartment to get one with you, or would one of you move in with the other? How compatible would you be as roommates? Do you both keep your places clean, or is one of you a slob? Do you have the same taste in furniture? Would one of you expect the other to carry more of the mental burden for maintaining the household? As a woman in her 30s, I would not really want to give up my freedom and move in with someone unless we were in it for the long haul. I would especially not move in with them if I got any sort of hint that I would be stuck with the majority of the housework after the move. Been there, done that, not interested in being a bangmaid again. Sounds like you two need to have an open dialogue about timelines and how you see the relationship progressing. Living together before marriage shouldn't have to be a prerequisite. But if you really want that experience, what are you trying to gain from it, and could you start learning those things without fully moving in? For example, if you wanted to know if your living styles would clash, could you do a trial where you stay at her place for a few weeks, then she stays at your place for a few weeks? If you want to understand her financial values, can you have a Friday night where you both pop a bottle of wine, sit down, and discuss candidly finances? If her being not ready is code for "I've never imagined myself cohabitating," then she may not ever get ready, and she just might compromise to make you happy. Would you want that? I think you should figure out what makes her not ready, and if it's due to value-based reasons or the relationship itself. If it's the latter, then you need to ask her what about the relationship needs improvement from her perspective, so you can work on that. Unequal relationship needs to end, but it will mean BF ends up on the street. I'm, F32, thinking about ending things with my boyfriend, M33, after more than 3 years living together. I'm at loss about what to do. Honestly, I've never been in a relationship that long or serious, and I have no idea how to break it up. The main issue here is that he is highly dependent on me. There are other issues, but I would need my own blog to go over those. We're both foreigners in our country of residence and foreigners to each other's. I moved more than 10 years ago. know the language and society fairly well. He's been here for 4 years but still doesn't speak the language, which restricts his ability to find work or study. Although 95% of the population speaks English, he always asks me to do things for him like his taxes, talk to his former employer, deal with his healthcare, his school, etc. He's not active at home either. He doesn't know how to cook, how to wash his clothes. I have to nag for him to actually clean something, badly. I'm exhausted. He doesn't show any signs of learning the language or looking for jobs. I got him his former job. I enrolled him at the local university. I book his doctor's appointment. All he does is sitting in front of his computer playing video games, yelling and ranting at the screen, watching Netflix. I'm actually writing this post after secluding myself from one of his tantrums. He doesn't have family here, only has one good friend. Our flat is mine. He gets help from the state but only because we live together. If I kick him out, he's homeless, jobless, penniless. If I hated his guts, that wouldn't be a problem, but I still love the fool. I don't know what to do. My brain says to break up, although I do love him, but that would be putting him on the streets and it would be difficult to help him if we're broken up. I don't think he can even fly back home to his parents. Also, the idiot calls me the love of his life and he's willing to not have children to please my child-free stance, which I'm highly uncomfortable with. I'd highly appreciate it if anyone has advice or have been through similar situations. Thanks. Also, English is not my native language. Sorry if there are mistakes. Too long didn't read. I need to break up with dependent, clueless boyfriend, but his dependence on me makes it difficult. Advice, anyone? There's no reason a fully functional adult can't look after themselves. Give him notice it's not going to work and that he needs to be out by X date. That you'll no longer be what is basically an unpaid slave. His washing and other chores are no longer your concern and that he now needs to do his own share. That if he doesn't fulfill his own cleaning etc., the move out date will be moved forward and he will immediately be removed. I don't know the local laws, but recording this is never a bad idea to back you up. I understand you say you still love him, but you are alive once. You need more than to be a slave to a freeloading waste of life. Good luck and I hope all goes well. There is a long story here, but I was you. I was you for a long time. It got so bad I fantasized about getting hit by a bus so I wouldn't have to go home to him. He would throw tantrums, threaten to kill himself if I ever left, he would be homeless, blah blah. A million things. It got to the point where I was ready to die because I felt so guilty about it. I finally kicked him out. He got back home with his parents and mooches off them now. I did a lot of therapy, which I highly recommend. I'm starting to get my life back and the ability to set boundaries. I'm alive again and I like being alive. Whatever guilt you feel, however much you worry, I am you. And I am telling you, in a year from now you will be in such a better place you will not understand how you ever hesitated in the first place. Message me if you want someone to talk to. Anyone going or having been through the same is also welcome. We are not alone. I don't think he can even fly back home to his parents. Is this due to current travel bans or something else? Perhaps in his current state, he'd qualify as an unaccompanied minor. One thing I learned in therapy that seems so obvious but is so effective at putting things in perspective: you can only control your own actions, not those of others. You have done everything to provide a foundation for him to improve his life. A job, and education, a home. But he's remained stagnant. If you stay with him, you'll remain stagnant too. For some reason he refuses to get his life together, and that is not your fault at all. You've already done more than your fair share for him. It's going to be really hard, but you seem to have a good head on your shoulders. Letting him go is going to be good for you, and maybe even good for him, as it may be the kick in his pants that he needs. I feel like my 22F relationship with my brother, 14M, is straining one of my other friendships, 26M. What can I do? So I've, 22F, been friends with this one dude since March 26M. Due to COVID, a lot of our interaction is online. We play video games, I let him rant about stuff, and we share a few other friends too. Well, over the last year or so, my brother, 14M, has been going from child to teenager in that he's joining social media sites and also playing video games with me. Since we have a strong bond and have similar interests, and he also has trouble making friends due to ADHD, I invite him to some games with friends, aged between 16 to 30, M and F. Everyone is cool with him except the friend I mentioned above. At first he just tolerated him. My brother doesn't hang out with us that often. I even reduced the amount of times I let him play with us because this one friend finds him annoying. But then he started talking shit about him. I can't talk about my home life without some remark about my childish little brother. He's a child. Eventually this led to an argument with the friend and I, all because my brother wanted to play a game on my PC while I was on the phone with him. He would have been wearing headphones while we talked and I said I could go in another room, but the friend was having none of it and we ended the call. At that point I wanted to make it very clear that I care about my brother and told him that. He was more worried that I was mad at him than giving a sincere apology. But I was glad we were talking again and I hoped it was over. I decided to just keep them two separate, which worked, and my brother understands. He picked up on the issue after the argument, but it would lead to me having to leave either one or the other out of things, mostly my brother because my friend likes to talk a lot and he takes up a lot of time. He still talks shit about him though, and now my brother feels excluded because I don't let him play with me as much. I'm so frustrated since my other friends otherwise enjoy his company and love having him around. Plus I don't force my brother on anyone and always ask before inviting him to join stuff. What can I do? Too long didn't read. Friend doesn't like my brother and talks shit about him. Eventually led to fight, and now I feel frustrated because my brother feels excluded, not being able to hang out as much with my other friends anymore. Come again? A 26 years man is talking shit about a 14 years. Damn, that guy is more childish than a 14-year-old. No one talks shit about my fam online or we ain't friends. This is creepy behavior. A 14-year-old is literally a child. His behavior is grossly inappropriate and bizarre. I wouldn't keep around someone who bad talks about my sibling. Your brother is a child and you're only his friend. I am sorry to break it to you, but this friend of yours basically has feelings for you or thinks he can have more than friendship with you. Even if he is potential partner, I wouldn't be in relationship with someone who doesn't care or respect my little sibling. The decision comes to you. If you feel like it's must to have this jerk friend of yours, then you have to divide your time between him and your brother. I don't know, man. I find it strange that you're prioritizing how this very recent friend feels about your brother, over how you and the rest of your friend group feels about your brother. If you all think he's okay, then why does this new guy have such a problem with it? Makes me wonder if the guy has a crush on you or something. This dude is an ass who won't stop insulting a child. Drop this clown and apologize to your brother for not doing it sooner. If your friends ask, just say something like, yeah, I got sick of him constantly insulting my brother, a literal child. So I decided to include the person that wasn't an asshole. This friend of yours is very jealous, obviously, even of your brother. My opinion, he need to get with the program and accept your brother or move along swiftly.